Hi, my name is Bakdaulet. I'm an English language teacher. Today we will take a pause with the alphabet and will instead look at the song, which according to psychologist David Greenberg and based on Spotify data, this is important, is the best song to help you wake up in the morning, and that is
Viva La Vida.
I believe many like me knew this song way before that list, and I myself always got those goosebumps whenever I sang along to it. So let's begin. First verse is like, I used to rule the world. Seas would rise when I gave the word. Now in the morning I sleep alone. Sweep the streets I used to own. As we can see, song begins with the grammatical structure used to, and actually throughout the whole song it is used numerous times. Why? Because used to means that whatever is being said after it was in past. That is, we no longer do it or no longer are like that, etc. For instance, I used to be very shy means that a person is not shy anymore. Or I used to hate salad means that a person at some point stopped hating salad. So when Chris Martin sings, I used to rule the world, seas would rise when I gave the word, it means that? Exactly. He no longer does rule the world, nor do the seas rise when he gives the word. By the way, give the word here means to say, or rather in this context to order something, not like a large chicken basket, but more like monarch's orders in medieval times. And then we have a sharply contrasting situation with that absolute power the king used to have. Currently, he sleeps and wakes up alone, and the streets that he used to own, he is now merely sweeping. Then we hear the second verse. I used to roll the dice, feel the fear in my enemy's eyes, listen as the crowd would sing. Now the old king is dead, long live the king. Once again, we hear used to, and now, knowing what it means, we can look closely at the actual actions. To roll the dice means to be risky, to be willing to take risks, but not like a daredevil, but more like a brave person who creates his or her own luck and destiny. Feel the fear in my enemy's eyes is just another poetic way to express how cool was the king in his old days. Even his enemies would be afraid of him. And in his glorious past, king would also hear how his crowd would chant, "Long live the king." We go on with the third verse before arriving at the chorus, and the third verse goes like this. 1 minute I held the key, next the walls were closed on me, and I discovered that my castle stand upon pillars of salt and pillars of sand. Here, two main ideas were put very beautifully. First is that life is swift or rapid. 1 minute our king had the key to practically anything, but a minute later his time was already gone, and he was merely staring at the walls, possibly also implying that he was entrapped. And only when it was too late, he realized that his castles were standing on salt and sand, both of which, by the way, are not too stable. In other words, no matter what was standing on those pillars of salt and sand, be it a simple small house or a great palace or even a king's castle, ultimately nothing can stand safely on this and will inevitably collapse. And then we arrive at the chorus. I hear Jerusalem bells ringing, Roman cavalry choirs singing. Be my mirror, my sword and shield, my missionaries in a foreign field. And here things get even more interesting. So the whole song is about the glorious past, right? Then why present continuous is being used here? Well, a possible reason may be that even now, Old King hears the bells as, some kind of a recurring PTSD flashbacks. Because maybe you know, maybe you don't, but soldiers used to ring bells, by the way, gigantic ones, when they saw approaching enemy armies. So maybe King remembers the day so well that even years later the sound is still in his head. And just like the Roman cavalry's chants. Another exceptional phrase here is "Be my mirror, my sword and shield." I love it because it highlights the importance of not just sword and shield or the symbols for power and safety, but puts mirror first because for a true king, it is of uttermost significance to be self-reflective, to be aware of his power, and as Uncle Ben told us in the best Spider-Man movie,
with great power comes great responsibility.
Well, and missionaries in the foreign field is another good, though comparatively simpler than previous one's line, which I believe was put because Chris needed a rhyme for shield. And the second part of the chorus is, for some reason I can't explain, once you'd gone there was never, never an honest word. That was when I ruled the world. Here, grammar becomes even more intriguing why it is you'd gone. Is it you would gone or is it you had gone? To understand that and to deduce a rule for ourselves, let's look at the second part of the sentence. There was never an honest word. This is past simple. And both had gone and would gone can be used in a sentence with the past simple, but we see a word once, which means that the moment a certain person was gone, changes followed. In other words, all the past is being connected with past, and that is, my dear viewer, how we use past perfect. When we want to describe an event that happened prior to another event also in the past, we use past perfect. Generally, you can write in your language book that perfects in English are needed because without them, we cannot really connect past with present and present with future. Yes, I know it sounds weird, but that is why we need perfects in reality. And going back to past perfect, let's have some more examples. For instance, when I got to the school, everyone had already eaten their breakfasts. Or he had finished the task before we even gave instructions. So, in both sentences, something in past or past happens before something in normal past. And that makes it clear that once the person disappeared from King's life, there was not a single soul who was sincere with the king. And in such a wicked time, he ruled the world. Truly great song by a truly great group. Very poetical, very dense in the meaning, and of course with a wonderful instrumental. So that's it for today. I really hope that you enjoyed this new direction of videos in which we will look at the lyrics of different songs, and if you want some particular song, express that in the comments section and I'll definitely have a look at it. Otherwise, as usual, thank you for watching, for your time, and if you liked the video, you can let me know through any way convenient to you. And as usual, donations can be made on paypal.me Mr. Bakdaulet. Stay tuned and together we will get better at English easily. Bye!